Hello, my name is AriellaIovine and I'm going to be showing you my lesson plan. This lesson plan is for the class titled Introduction to Environmental Science and is for 4th grade students. The resources that we'll be needing for this lesson plan is internet access for multiple applications on the computer, also chart paper and journals. I'll provide printed paper copies of the water cycle as an accommodation, this way that students can look through their notebook if they find virtual presentations difficult to keep up with. Also, I'll hand out iPads so the students can stay on track but also go at a pace of their own. When we get to the Orient the Leader section, the essential question that I'll use is what is suggested by the word cycle? Also, to go along with this, what are some examples of cycles, and also what do you know about cycles? The objective, which while writing the lesson plan I found most difficult, now I believe is that 4th grade students can demonstrate the water cycle by creating a flowchart on their iPads using MyWebspiration and notes from flowcharts, or notes from class. The flowcharts must be clear, correctly include all 8 stages of the water cycle, and be presented in the proper order. MyWebspiration I'll show you over here. And here's a short clip that goes along with what we're saying.
Inspiration Classroom, students use visual thinking and outlining techniques to develop writing skills and analyze, synthesize, and comprehend information. Applying proven learning methods such as webbing, concept mapping, and other graphic organizers, students learn to write and think more effectively.
And that's how the students will make their flowcharts. When we get to the standards, these I found online, and they'll be using Standard 1 Level 3, which is to understand atmospheric processes and the water cycle, and also Standard 12 Level 3, which is to understand the nature of scientific inquiry. As for the interdisciplinary standards, the students will practice math skills as they use the measuring skills, and they will also be participating in the following standards, which are thinking and reasoning, basic principles of presenting an argument, and working with others. When we get to the more fun stuff, like the instructional design, first we start off with the set or the hook. Here I'll ask students surprising questions about the water cycle, including a discussion about what would happen if the world did not have a water cycle. The tech tool I'll use here is Kahoot as a question-based classroom response system. This is Kahoot, and here's the question: what do you think would happen if the water cycle did not exist? And then the students can click on it and answer. And it's a way to keep the students engaged and also entertained. There you go. To check for the understanding, I'll allow small group discussions to talk about and answer questions out loud once everyone is called on regarding the different steps of the water cycle. Here I'll use an application called Random Team Selector, and this will be on iPads to make sure that the teams are fair and everyone gets a chance to meet different students from around the classroom and to walk around also. The guided practicing that I'll use is that students will use the tech tool Speed Match Review Game Creator. And this I have right here. And this way students can either put pictures or description of the different steps of the water cycles and then their names. And then once they're finished, the game is immediately available for online play. It's a great way to practice and to learn also. One thing that I skipped right here is that the input modeling is that I'll present the new information in the form of Tristan's water cycle. And this is going to stimulate their mind into an actual visual of the virtual water cycle, and that I have right here.
Water on the Earth is constantly on the move. It recycles over and over again. This movement is called the water cycle. To see the cycle in motion, please
And this is a way for them to really connect what they're learning with a visual, and that'll help them to understand the concepts much more easily. The independent practice here is that students will again use the MyWebspiration to create their own flowcharts individually displaying the water cycle. I will use this tech tool application called Random Student on the iPad, which will randomly select the order in which the students will present the information. And I'll review the flowcharts and provide constructive criticism. For closure, I'll reinforce by asking the question, what makes the water cycle so important? And the students can answer here through Answer Garden, which is this website here, where I have the question, and then they can each type in the answers, and they pop up here, so we can see everyone's answers all together. When we get to assessment, the students will again use the flowcharts that they created on My Webspiration, and to make this, they can use notes from class. Again, the flowcharts should be clear and correctly include all 8 stages, also should be presented in the proper order. Lastly, I'll show a Pooh Town animation and discuss the water cycle's effect on other aspects of the environment and those who live in it. Someone else made one here, and I think it's a great example. This form of a visual is both entertaining to the kids and also very informative. Lastly, when we get to the recommendation, for the students will be able to use the application Poll Daddy, which is this website right here, and they'll be able to answer questions and allow me, the teacher, to get a grip on how clearly they understood the material. An example question that I would use is that, was this lesson easy to understand? And they can choose true, very true, unsure, false, or very false. And as the teacher, I'd like to take the students' surveys into consideration and revise according to their responses. Thanks very much for listening to my lesson plan on the water cycle, and I hope you enjoyed.